Today is Monday, May the 4th, and I'm really excited about this video because a lot of things that we've been talking about happened today, and it's going to show you the power, to me, in my mind, of the Ichimoku system. So first of all, volume, pretty much what we saw on Friday. The Dow made a very nice comeback really right from the open, as did the NASDAQ, as did the S&P 500. Pretty good mix of green and red, but overall the advancers led decliners. However, that's not the case for the stocks traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So these advancers to decliners include about 3,500 different stocks. You've got the NASDAQ and you've got other indexes. Not indexes, but other trading floors, because the advancers to decliners had a decline advantage of 200 on stocks that are traded on the New York Stock Exchange, about 2,800 different stocks. But here's one of the things we talked about. We talked about the need or the pull for the McClellan oscillator to head towards neutral, where an important decision will be made. Last time it was a bounce. The time before that, we zigged and we zagged, but we ended up really ramping up pretty high from the last time we came down to test that neutral line. Some of the takeaways here are volume, pretty much the same as Friday. Advancers, much better than Friday. Decliners, lower than Friday. You can see that expressed another way here. Now here's the McClellan oscillator. We've done this little zig over here. We're getting closer to this zero line as the Dow Jones was just pretty much flat for the day. So what does that say about our charts? And there's so much to see there in the charts in terms of the the Ichimoku. In yesterday's video covering Friday, we said that the attraction to the flat cloud and the 50% Fibonacci was inevitable, and we were looking for support there. If we got support, that was a darn good sign that the buyers were there. We got support very early in the day. This low of the day was actually made when? Was actually made right here at 9:39 in the morning, which means that people who are watching the daily Ichimoku saw their support right there at 9:40 in the morning. And it wasn't long thereafter, if you look at that chart again, it wasn't long thereafter, right there, that the market started to move up. So in the first 10 minutes, you had the test of the 50% Fibonacci and the flat cloud, and then you had the move up. That tells you something. The fact that volume was a little bit better tells you something else to be more positive. Does it mean we're going back to bullish conditions? No. Does it mean that we might stay above the zero line for the McClellan oscillator like we have now for quite some time? Yes, I think it does mean that we'll stay above the zero line. When the market was really, really dropping, we had all of our McClellan oscillator readings below the zero line. We just couldn't make it up to the zero line. But as soon as we did, the market turned. And now we've spent most of our time since then, since the turn, above the McClellan oscillator line as a neutral line, and we can continue to do that. I would get worried if I were to see 2 or 3 points below the zero line. Then I'd have to change my opinion. Now, Apple today, its high was where the Chiku span hit the cloud and the 50 simple moving average. Again, we had a coincidence of 2 things happening, so that drew price in the form of the Chiku span price plotted 26 days behind the current day. We also on Friday got support on that 61.8%. We actually got that on Wednesday. And today we made a high that coincided with a closing high of Thursday. So that's very bullish for Apple. The volume, however, wasn't particularly high. Home Depot, I was in Home Depot on Saturday, and the place was packed, jam-packed with people I'm in North Carolina. There's still a lockdown in effect, but our Home Depot is in South Carolina, which is just a mile away from where I live in North Carolina. And that accounts for why it was full, I guess. People feel that there's no stay-at-home order in South Carolina anymore. But Home Depot had a big day. Its volume, not too bad, a little bit higher. Google, there's Google, volume, pretty low, not very convincing. NVIDIA, big day, big turnaround, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm still waiting for it to make new highs. I'm going to move my marker down to right here, my alert down here. When it passes 300 and comes back to confirm 300 on a test, that's when I'm going to add more contracts. Whirlpool down $5.44 now into the cloud. That's a sick stock. GDX, you can't see the trend line here, but there is a trend line, and it is, let's see if we can replicate that trend line. That's probably not the trend line. That might be the trend line right there, and we're still waiting for a break of the trend line. If you look at GLD, you'll see the same trend line. Amazon, big day, up 1%. Netflix up 3%. That's a good sign as well. AT&T, good dividend stock, but once it got rejected by the cloud, it dropped. And look where it is now, where the Chiku span is now. It looks like it's going to come out tomorrow underneath this candle, which isn't a good sign for AT&T. I have short calls covering my 1,200 shares, so I'm sitting still with that, and think that it's good, just a good long-term 6% dividend stock. The volatility index was down just a little bit. So where are we going tomorrow? Well, we've got two things to watch for. We've got the, let's get our, we've got our McClellan oscillator that might want to hit the zero line tomorrow, or not make a low. This is zero. So if it came down to here, it wouldn't be a lower low. It would just be tying it. But if it went back up, that would be a higher low, and that's a good sign for the bulls. So I'm thinking tomorrow that there may be a bit of an up move, and I'm going to change this arrow now because we've done what we said we would do, which is come down and test the 50% and the top of the cloud. And now I think the short term is up, and the resistance today was here. Tomorrow is going to be right about there. So resistance will come in the form of 2886, 2891. So almost 2900. So look for that tomorrow.